become an important source of revenue for the government all over the world. The collection of tax revenue is essential for a government to ensure its funding. In Malaysia, Inland Revenue Board (IRBN) and Royal Malaysian Customs Department (RMCD) are responsible for administration of the tax system and customs regime. These two bodies play significant roles in collecting tax revenue on behalf of the government.
Under this research paper, the problem statement firstly is under section 114 of the Income Tax Act 1967 states that anyone who deliberately and with intent evades or assists another person evading tax commits an offence. And under 114 clause 1A, when a corporate taxpayer understates their tax liability as a result of tax advice or services provided by a tax advisor, it is also as an offence. Since this section is criminal in nature, burden of proof lies on prosecution and intention of the agent must be proved. Furthermore, it is not strict liability. As far as doing this research, there is no reported case yet pertaining to this clause, which is the clause under section 114 clause 1A. The Director General of Inland Revenue has the authority to disregard or vary transaction under section 140 of the Income Tax Act. However, the cases involved above are civil cases in nature and not criminal case. The third problem statement is pertaining to the section 135 of Customs Act and under section 133 of the Customs Act involves smuggling offences and under declaration. Under section 86 of Sales Tax Act and 71 of Services Tax Act, there are offences of tax evasion or assistance as well as the penalties that apply. However, it is criminal in nature offences but not strict liability where identification of doctrine applies. Objective of the study is taking consideration to curbing facilitation of tax evasion law following the new amendment under Part 3 of Criminal Finances Act 2017 of UK, where it introduced corporate offences of failure to prevent facilitation of UK and foreign tax evasion. Under Section 45 of the Act, it explained offence of failure to prevent facilitation of UK tax evasion by a relevant body that are body corporate or partnership. So this part, it applies to body corporate and partnership. And another section is Section 46, where it explains offences of failure to prevent facilitation of foreign tax evasion. Under this section, body corporate or partnership incorporated and formed under the UK law, carry business in UK, and tax evasion facilitation tax placed in UK also applies to this section. Prosecutor must prove the 3 stages for relevant body or organisation to be convicted under this part. These 3 stages are as in the picture, where A assists C to commit tax evasion, A is associated person of B, and B, the relevant bodies, if fail to forbid its associated person from involved in criminal facilitation, and if convicted, the consequences include unlimited fine and the possibility of being barred from competing for future government contracts. This failure to prevent offence is based on strict liability approach that disregard the theory of identification of doctrine. This study examines the Criminal Finances Act 2017 (CFA) in the United Kingdom, which intends to hold corporate entities accountable for criminal prosecution if those connected with them have involved in criminal facilitation of tax evasion. This research paper meant to analyse CFA law and Malaysian tax evasion law and cases to show the importance of CFA amendment and taking into consideration to make it applicable in Malaysia. This paper, using comparison method where law, regulation, cases and articles were used to scrutinize the effectiveness of CFA and whether Malaysia should follow UK amendment. Primary sources of this paper are from Malaysia and UK law and regulations. This research also is supporting by secondary materials by collecting data through journals, articles and cases from LexisNexis, Scopus and ResearchGate.
Public official named in the Pandora Papers leak sought to minimize damage on Monday amid growing call for investigations and consequences. The report by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists (ICIJ), which involved scores of new outlets including DW Publication Service, revealed hundreds of politicians and public officials who have ties to offshore tax haven. 3 central figures in one MPB scandal were ordered by the High Court last week to pay a cumulative amount of 77.1 million in unpaid taxes. However, the 3 figures, who were all close associated with another fugitive no-take Joe or Jolo, have been in absentia since 2018, prompting questions as to how the amounts will be collected. The trio had fled Malaysia before the authorities kick-started investigation into the failed state development arm. Part 3 of the Criminal Finances Act 2017 introduced corporate offences of failure to prevent facilitation of UK and foreign tax evasion. The new corporate offence coincides with the new offshore tax evasion offences by individuals. As with the Bribery Act, a legal defence is provided for corporations that can show they had in place reasonable prevention procedures, or if in the circumstances it was not reasonable to have any prevention procedure in place. Guidance on the meaning of reasonable prevention procedure was published by HRMC in October 2016 to assist corporations in this regard with principles similar to the Bribery Act.
Finding under this paper, as Section 70A MACC taken place on corporation, Section 45 and 46 Part 3 of Criminal Finances Act 2017 can be Malaysian role model too for curbing facilitation on tax evasion crimes among corporation. Furthermore, tax evasion among corporation is crucial and is not a new problem in Malaysia. Section 45 and 46 of CFA, further research must be necessary to educate our law and proceeding as Malaysia have different body enhancing the law on tax evasion. For example, under Custom Department and Inland Revenue Board. In addition, under this research paper, it shows that increase in tax burden is significant factor of tax evasion in Malaysia. Furthermore, in Malaysia, corporations are more susceptible to tax evasion than individuals. This study also shows that corporate body have huge tendency than individual to evade tax, and CFA definitely the right answer to tackle facilitation of tax evasion offences. In conclusion, if CFA applies in Malaysia, it will boost compliance requirements in all industries. Businesses will undertake more due diligence on their suppliers, contractors and workers and should pay particular attention to where and how payments for products and services are made, especially if offshore accounts are involved or cash payments are made.